Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome to my video today. As you all will have known, the news has come out earlier today, the 20th of April, that Arsene Wenger is going to step down as Arsenal manager. And I just really wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on it. So for me personally, Wenger's been in charge the whole time that I've supported Arsenal. And so, that is going to be weird, first off. For me, just the whole concept of him not being the manager. I don't know. It's gonna be weird seeing someone else in the dugout, someone else doing the talks, and I don't know. A lot of people are obviously coming to me thinking I'm gonna be ecstatic or happy about it. I can say I'm not either of those two things. I'm fairly apprehensive at the minute because we obviously have no idea who we're going to be getting as a replacement, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, maybe he shouldn't have announced, or maybe Arsenal shouldn't have announced it till later on. If that was going to be the case, I don't know if they've got someone lined up. We might hear some stuff over the next couple of days, maybe, or more than likely we won't hear anything until the end of the season, I wouldn't have thought. So there's a whole host of people ready to throw their names in the hat, names in the ring, whatever it is, whatever the expression is, I can't remember. And people have thrown around lots of different names, Allegri, Ancelotti, some people, even with Simeone. But my argument with the whole Simeone thing is, why would you leave Atletico to come to Arsenal when probably Atletico are in a better, maybe not financially, but more successful than Arsenal, for sure. But obviously, the Premier League has its allures as well. So for me, it's important that we don't just bring in a stopgap. I don't feel as though Arsenal is, that way inclined, the way, Manchester United have gone, the way Chelsea have gone. I do appreciate that with the Manchester United thing, they brought David Moyes in to hopefully emulate Alex Ferguson. I get that you have to find the right man, but a lot of clubs do chop and change very often. How many more seasons is Guardiola going to be at Man City for? Probably a couple more, and then, they'll move on. He'll want to do something else, or they'll want to bring someone else in. So it's not always, you don't see it. You don't see this 22-year stint that Arsene Wenger's accomplished. It's just pretty much unheard of. But, I'd like someone to be brought in with the idea that they could be there for a decade, or could be there for, like 5 years plus, at least. I feel like as fans, that's something we've become accustomed to. But yeah, they have to do well. As simple as that. You can't, if someone comes in and we finish 10th, then, well, yeah, there's every right in probably trying to find someone else to come in, to take over. But, by far, it's obviously shown now that Wenger is below the par in where we should be as a club. Historically, maybe we don't deserve to be based on how we've performed. The league table at the end of the season doesn't lie. You do finish where you deserve to pretty much all the time. So, in that regards to this season and last season, I think there's a case that it is time for him to move on. Personally, my opinion on it hasn't changed at all. I think if we were going to bring someone in, someone who was probably a little bit less well known, so if we are thinking about a Patrick Vieira, for example, if we are going total curveball and we're going to bring in someone like a Thierry Henry, then I would have liked to have seen them work with Wenger for a year. Maybe as Wenger's number 2, getting used to the club, and then having a bit of a transition over to taking over the club, which is how I would hope they'd have done it, because I always felt as though this contract that Wenger signed for these 2 years, for this year and next year, was going to be the last one. I mean, he's not getting any younger. The club is doing progressively worse each year. And it just sort of feels time as though we were going to get to that point anyway. The fact that it's come a season early is a bit of a disappointment for me. I would have liked to have seen him see out the full duration of his contract. But I guess, does it make that much difference in the long term? Probably not. So yes, until we find out who we're going to get and obviously long term how they perform, we won't know if this is a good or a bad thing. We won't know if Wenger was a genius keeping afloat a sinking ship, or whether he got to the point where his powers had diminished to a point where he was holding us back. And I guess that remains to be seen. My personal pick, who I want to see come in, is Dennis Bergkamp. A lot of people will say he's got no managerial experience, you shouldn't be bringing him in. He's obviously spent a lot of time with Ajax. He's made it no secret that he'd like to come back to Arsenal and perhaps do a coaching role. He's been the assistant manager at Ajax, so he's had a bit more of a say over, tactical decisions. And, Ajax do play very attacking football. And the most important thing for me is I want someone who's going to play. The last couple of seasons especially, Arsenal haven't felt like Arsenal. Even if I missed the day, makes you miss the days where if we lost 4-3. We went for it. We were sloppy at the back, but okay, we dealt with that, and we attacked. And I feel as though, as a club, we've lost that identity slightly. So someone like even Patrick Vieira, I feel, would be like that. He's brought up through the ethos, through the Arsenal mentality. But someone more like, and plus Bergkamp is obviously an extremely classy guy, and I think he's the type of person that, much like Wenger, when he speaks, you want to listen to him. Not like Jose Mourinho. Don't get me wrong, brilliant manager, but don't like the guy. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm sort of feeling a bit mixed, a bit melancholy about it, I suppose, overall. But, the future is going to be more interesting going forward. We'll see see what players want to stay, see what players we bring in. And I just hope Jack signs a new contract, because I feel like going forward, we need to make sure we keep players like Ramsey and Jack, especially, because I feel like a few more quality additions in the midfield with them, and I feel like you've got a very strong force, potentially. Anyway, guys, thank you much for watching, listening to my rambling, my thoughts. And if it gets announced shortly, I'll do a reaction video on that as well, or when it does get announced anyway. Right, next time, guys, goodbye.